Yo, welcome to happy hour. Welcome to happy hour. What's up, y'all? You see that sun? That sun just came in real bright. I'm gonna take a picture of myself right now because I'm just looking too cute. All right. Okay, so we're a little bit early. Happy Thursday. Today is Thursday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. 2023, it's 3:54 p.m. Standard Pacific Time here in the beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, y'all. It's a party. It's always a party up in here. Um, I'm so excited for this week because, well, several reasons. Okay, several reasons for me to be excited this week. A lot of things happening. Last week, I went to a women's retreat. It was phenomenal. It felt like a revival, y'all. And I don't know about you, but at this point in my life, I needed a revival. And so that's what I got. It was a 3-day experience in the beautiful Pensacola, Florida, and I got an opportunity to connect with some amazing women, beautiful queens from all walks of life, from all different states across the US. And so I feel blessed, energized, and inspired because I was able to pour into other people and they were able to pour into me, which I am so grateful for because I don't allow everyone to pour into me. Not everyone is qualified to pour into me because I am very particular about my energy. I'm very protective of my peace. And if the person is not coming in with the right energy and the right attitude, I won't be bothered. So this was a wonderful weekend. I'm still riding the wave of the positivity that I experienced. So today's Thursday, and now we are going to be doing our happy hour. We have Gail Rucker coming up in this space, and she's going to be reading us a bedtime story tonight. So story time, boys and girls. And look, we already have someone coming in. This is amazing. Yay. And Denise, beautiful queen, welcome to the space.
How are you?
I am fabulous. You look so beautiful. Your
Oh,
lipstick, your
thank you.
hair, your glasses.
Thank you. The same to you as well, but that's because we're queens, right?
We queens. Queens got to
Like,
stick together.
exactly. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited for this happy hour. I was just doing the intro because I do an intro and an outro, and then people come in and we share. And
Right.
then I take the video and I put it on my YouTube channel for people who missed it.
Oh, that's perfect because I'm sure that any family member that I have that wanted to be here and forgot will do just that. Go right to YouTube and check it out. So thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And I'm so glad you're here. How did you hear about the happy hour?
I don't even know. It had to be. It's on Facebook, but there's so many things you're on in Facebook, and you see something. It's like, well, let me see if I can get on that. Especially as a new author, so you want to get your information and your book out there, and so it's like, well, here you are. So I think it was Black Girls Write Too, and I think that's exactly where I connected with you. I don't think it was just a general search. That's where I ran across you and this platform. So there you are.
Yes, beautiful. Welcome, welcome. I'm so
Thank you
glad
so
you're
much.
here. So what I want to do, let me just explain the reason for happy hour since it's your first time. So
Please.
I've been doing, and people are going to come in sporadically, so that's
Okay.
okay. I've been doing book publishing for about 5 years for myself,
Very good.
just as a fun hobby. I'm by trade, I'm a high school history teacher.
That's good
So
training.
yeah, yeah,
So let me say, I appreciate you because there's no way.
yeah, I know.
No way.
I know.
No way. Can't do
I know.
it.
I mean, thank God this is my full-time thing now. I support authors full time. So
Very good.
still have a little bit of hair left from, the teaching. So I said, let me get out while I still have a little bit of hair.
Exactly. Right. Right. I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started doing just book publishing as a fun thing, a hobby for myself. And then people started saying, hey, can you coach me? Like, how do you do this? What do you do? And so then I
Right.
started a coaching business. And then, well, actually, I created an online course first
Okay.
because I just wanted to put something together for people to just consume.
Right.
And then people started really not thriving in that type of setting because most people aren't diligent enough to finish the course. So
Right.
then they started saying, well, can you just coach me and just hold me by the hand? And I'm like, sure, but you're going to pay a lot more money for that.
Right.
So started
Right.
doing that. And then it just kind of snowballed into this big thing. And I started doing posts on Instagram, posts on Facebook, and then started doing a blog on my website,
Right.
and then doing a YouTube channel, and then my hey Dolores, we're getting
Hey,
ready.
Dolores.
We're gonna do introductions in a second. I just want to give Denise. Is it Denise?
And yep, you could. And Denise is fine. Yes.
Denise. Okay, I'm giving an overview of why we do happy hour. So I literally just started pulling people together because my Facebook groups, I have two Facebook groups. One is for people that don't have a book,
Right.
and the other group is for people who have books and they want to know how to market and sell better.
Right.
So those two groups, we come together for happy hour because
Okay.
I want everybody to be together and know each other. And so I post, oh, she'll jump back in. I post this video on my YouTube channel, on my podcast, and this video will also be inside of both of my groups.
Perfect. Okay.
So that way
Hopefully
everybody
we'll
can
post it
see.
in the Black Girls Right too. You should be posted in there too.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even think about that
I'm
because
here for you.
yeah, thank you. I will definitely start doing that because I know I put the link in, but that's a great idea. I'll do that so they can see this is what we do during happy hour. I like that.
That part. Right, right, right. I'm going to add a background because I think I just
Love
have
it.
a background. Every time I think of something, I'm like, oh, I need to do that right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Why
we
not have?
do, there's two things that we do. I love it. We do networking. So we come together and we share who we are and we connect with other people. And then the second part of the session, and it's an hour, so we have plenty of time for everybody. We do promotion. We do our own commercial.
Ooh, I
So
like that.
yeah, it's a
You're
good
doing that.
thing. You'll be able to talk about who you are, where you're from, what you do,
Right.
what books you have out, how we can go buy the books, and if you're doing any events, how do we support you in those events? So
Right.
that's
I
basically what
appreciate
we
that.
do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll tell you, I'm going to refer someone to you because I spoke to a young lady today and she was stuck a little bit, just a little. I don't think she was stuck.
Okay.
They just needed someone to talk to, and that's fine. But knowing that you coach and move forward, I'm going to say, hey, in case you want more,
Yes.
please go see LT, the coach.
Yes. Absolutely. And this is what I love doing is just supporting authors because I've been able to build a business and leave teaching, and I've been able to meet hundreds of authors, and
That's
they
pretty
just keep,
good.
they keep coming to me. So I'm like, well, thank you, God. This is my purpose.
Right. That's exactly, bro. That's a blessing. Not everybody can realize that. So that's a blessing.
Mhm.
Especially when you can leave. Well, it probably wasn't hard to leave high school. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, it wasn't hard at all. Like I missed the kids, but nothing else.
Right. Some of the things that teachers have experienced now are nothing like what we had back then. I mean, you were afraid that teacher was like the annex to your mom. So she could pop you or pinch you or maybe even slap you if she needed to. And you weren't going to cut up in her classroom. So, it's like, what is happening now? Teachers getting their legs broken and being attacked. That to me is it's a little bit too much.
It is a
Yeah.
lot. And when the pandemic hit and we got pushed in our home,
Oh
like
man.
like Zoom school, and you can't make the kids turn on their cameras.
Ooh.
There's so many weird things going on in people's houses.
Yes. Mom ain't
Like
dressed and walking by with a cigarette.
that
Dad
to
kissing
me,
mom pass. It's a little bit too much.
that was when I left. I said, I can't do this. Mm-mm,
Yeah, it's too much.
mm-mm.
too much, too funny,
Yeah.
and too much.
Yeah, so you're here first and it's after the hour. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and allow you to introduce yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? Tell us all about your books and how we can get them.
I will do just that. Well, my name is Denise. I am a native New Englander, as my book description talks about. Here's the book. It's in the background, but here's the cover of the book. Can you see it? I know the background is going to interrupt it, but I am a recently self-published author. I self-published in the month of March. It's been pretty good so far. I've been very pleased with the results of the feedback that I'm getting from everyone. I live here in Maryland. Like I said, I'm married. I have 2 adult children. Praise God. Thank God. And I just decided to write before the pandemic. I had some ideas. I started writing this one book. I won't name it because it's going to change. And then I got writer's block. And then I was reading, I think it was Walter Mosley, one of those authors, and he said you should write a little bit every day. And I think what I thought I could do was over 2 weekends write a book. And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Not for me anyway. So
Right.
anyway, the journey began several years ago, maybe like 2018, maybe earlier than that. And here we are with my first published work of fiction. I'm getting ready to write the second part of it, even though I have 5 other works that are in different stages of completion. But the response for it happened at church. The first book has been so good, and people are like, I'm sick of this person in the book, and I'm sick of that, and I need to know what happens to them, and what happens to this one. You need to bring this person back. And I said, you know what? Maybe it won't be 2024. Maybe by the end of the year, I'll have book number 2 out and about. So yeah, so that's it. All in the wrapped in a can, I think. Oh, more about me than I said I was a New Englander, living in Maryland, married, 2 children. I'm a Army veteran. I have a Purple Heart. I was wounded during Desert Storm. I survived it, praise God. And from there, I was always a nurse. So now I'm a nurse. And then I went on to get a master's in MBA and also a master's in human resource management. And I utilized that in my current position because I still work full time. I'm not a best-selling author yet.
Yeah.
But I still work full time for a nonprofit agency. And that really is it.
Beautiful. I would love to, and I almost forgot. I normally take a picture of us at the very beginning.
Well, it's still
But
the beginning.
yeah, I want you to hold up your book to
Let
the
me turn the
side.
background off because that
Yeah,
will
turn the
help. Yeah.
background off. That way I can take a picture of you, your book, and me together.
Okay, hold on. Let me just get that out. I blurred it, but that's not going to be workable. Let's do this.
And if you remind me on Instant Messenger, I'll send you this picture so you can see how it looks before I post it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna take 2 more.
Okay.
1 more. Awesome. I love it. It happened at church. Is that you in the photo?
No, that a lot of people had that question, and it is not me. This is a work of art by my editor, who is she does a lot. So
Absolutely beautiful.
she and I both chose that background. It was perfect because one of the characters in the book, this could absolutely be her cutting up in church with her hand, that whole thing. So it is a work of fiction. I got to keep saying that. I don't want to come away with it thinking that I was talking about anybody's mama, grandmama, aunts, or uncle. So
wow, I love that. I absolutely love that. So for people who are listening, watching it on the replay, who is the book for? Like, who is your target audience that you target? Of course, eventually more and more people are going to get it. Right. But who are the folks that you're thinking you're writing for right now?
So I'm looking at those folks who are, some of them are nosy. Let's just be real. That's sure it's fiction. They're probably talking about me, especially if they know me. I'm looking at my young adult audience. My high schoolers might enjoy the book. It's not that difficult of a read. I'm looking for my seniors that want something to read, but don't want to delve into a book that's like, as deep as the Bible, as thick as the Bible, or what have you. So I'm all over. I'm covering a lot of different age groups. The book, like I said, there's nothing salacious in it. You may not want your kindergartner, who might be an excelling reader, to read it. Let's put it that way. But middle school on up, I think they will find this book entertaining.
Awesome. So like grade 6 through 12,
You got it.
college age.
College. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Beautiful. So, okay, what inspired you to write the book?
Oh, wow. Wow. I think the first piece of work that I wrote is about this neighborhood, not this book in particular, but it was about this particular neighborhood and these people that grew up together and went off. And the reason why I started writing that was just I was bored. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I was really bored. And I was watching a couple of different movies, and because my husband and I will sit there and watch a movie, it's like, oh, we know what's getting ready to happen next. I said, this is
Uh-huh.
what I would do if I wrote that script. Okay. So then it was these ideas just kept coming, because I think that's what happens with us as artists, because this is an art form, right?
Yes.
We find something we don't even realize it's inspiring us. It could be the street that you're driving on, and in the one case of this other piece of work I wrote is this particular house we've seen forever, and I actually wanted to buy that house, but it was just too much property, and the location wasn't fit for us. But that house inspired a story, and I wrote a story about that house. And so with this
Nice.
church, I'm active in our church here in Maryland. Again, it's not about anybody in church. We keep saying that. And I'm very active in church, and it is our family foundation, our family's foundation from slavery on. We've always been very active in church, and so the different stories you hear, the different situations that come up in church, you see it in the news, different churches, different religions. And I just said, you know what, I think I'm going to write It Happened in Church. Again, it was just an idea, and it took off from there. So I'm hoping that someone will hear and read and say, hey, this might be a good series, something a little bit different. Because
Yeah.
like I said, I'll look at something and I'll say, I predicted that was going to happen. But what if we did something else with that same script and did something that's not so predictable? So
I
that was
love
where it all started for me.
I love it. That's beautiful. So many authors are in my groups and just out, on social media, and they're like, man, what? They're like, how do I even get started? Like, I have all this in my head, but how do I get it out? What would you say? Because you said you had writer's block, which is a whole another discussion, but
That's a whole
it's
yeah,
relevant. It's relevant
it is very
because
relevant.
so
Yes.
many authors are walking around here, but they haven't given birth yet.
Right.
So they're authors up here, but not authors
Exactly.
out in the world. So what would you say to people who have the idea? I call it pregnant for decades.
Yes. I love that. Yeah, I think that's great.
What would
I
you
think
say to them?
I've been saying it in every Facebook group that I'm in. If someone says, "Hey, I've written this piece of work and I don't know where to go with it, or I finished it and I don't know what to do," and I'll just say, "Just do it." I tell people, "Just Nike," and they're like, "What? Just do it."
Uh,
So for me, this book sat on the shelf, finished for probably 5 years. Okay, 5 years. Yeah, it's bad. So I
wow.
was finished with it, and I kept saying, maybe I need to add another chapter. It's not long enough. I needed to do something else. I wanted to add another story, but just never got around to it because COVID hit. I work in healthcare at that time. I was still on the floor, so you had to be at work.
Yeah.
And then here comes my younger cousin, who's 6'5" or whatever, and he writes a children's book, releases it, and he looks at me and says, when are you going to do what are you doing? And I said, well, I need an editor. Then it became the excuses. I need an editor. I need to find someone who understands what I'm doing, understands the story, understands, the African American lingo in church. Da, da, da. And he was just like shaking his head. And I said, you know what? Let me just do it. And so a
Mhm.
good friend of mine, she's a minister. So she said, you need to just, really come on. So I went, found an editor, prayed about it, got a great editor. We worked very well together. We'll work together again. And the rest is history. So I think that whenever you feel like, okay, I'm just not sure, I'm stuck, just do it. I mean, you have to be prepared to, I know there are people that are introverts that have written books. I spoke to a young lady today, and one of the things that you have to be prepared for is opening yourself up for opinions.
Yes.
positive and negative. And I am so not interested in hearing the negative stuff, but at the same time, I want to get honest feedback about my book. So you have to have tough skin. So if you think that you can't go through a process where someone says, I did not like your book, then you might want to pause for a second if it's going to be cause a mental health issue for you. But if you think you have the tough enough skin, if you had to took the if you've taken the time to write the book, publish it. Period. Unless you're just writing for fun and you just want to have a book, hey, and you just want to have a book on the shelf that you wrote but you didn't publish. They, people will let you do that. Print what you wrote, but you don't send it off anywhere. But why do that? Share it with the world. We need to see and read. So there you go.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, Gail Rucker is up in the house. Gail,
Hey,
we still doing, you came in at the right time because we're still doing introductions. So if you want to go ahead, it is your turn. Who are you? What do you do in the world? Where are you from? All the basics.
Hi, my name is Gail Rucker. My author name is Camille St. Charles, Mississippi. I have 3 published series of stories. And I was born in Jackson, Mississippi. I am nestled here in Detroit. I am an author, speaker, and maybe I'm still unsure, coach, if I'm going to be a coach. I don't know about that, but that's some of what I do.
Beautiful. And we're just talking about the basic parts of publishing. Like I've been talking to so many people lately and they're asking like, well, how do I get started? So I've made whole video series on how to get started. And I think the most common thing, and Denise was just talking about this too, the most common thing for authors is the fear of the unknown, the fear of criticism and judgment, the fear of failure, and the fear of success. The 4 fears, fear. You try to get over one, right? The unknown. Okay, so you find somebody and they tell you a little bit about how to do it. Okay, so there's the unknown. And then you put something out and then you're afraid of being judged and criticized. So that's the fear of the judgment. And then you kind of get over that a little bit. And then you start to see a little bit of success and you're like, ooh, what if I try and I fail? So then there's the fear of failure. And then when people started buying it, for me, they start buying it, liking it, giving me good reviews. Then I'm like, ooh, fear of success. What if I'm really successful and this takes me away from all the people that I know and love? And then what if I'm out here and I don't know who really loves me because now I got a lot of money and da, da, da. It's like you go up and there's still the fear, the fear, the fear, the fear.
One step up, 2 steps.
2 steps back. That's true.
One step up, just because you made that decision. But see, sometimes I have found that some people want to impart upon you what's been done to them.
Ooh, speak on it.
Some of that negative energy and the indecisions that have been placed before them, when they see you finally stepping into your strength and finding your power, they get afraid that you will become one of those untouchables. And it's not that you're doing anything different, it's just their perception of you is somewhat different.
Yeah.
And so, I call it stepping out on faith.
Right.
When you do step out on faith and you're standing in your own, they become unsure. My husband, I believe he likes to keep me under his thumb because he knows that I am a powerful being. It's
Wow.
my fault that, I played the game. I bought into the dream that all of us were sold. I bought into that, not knowing and understanding and appreciating my own power. I relinquished and I deferred back to him because they kept saying they would always say to you or say to me, something is better than sacrifice. What is that?
Obedience.
Obedience. That's it. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So therefore, you have to stay in your place so you won't be a force to be reckoned with. And that has been challenging a lot of our battles. It really has. And I was like, well, because when my husband wants to play the man card, I would say to him, so I was like, so let me ask you a question, just for the sake of argument. Do you not believe that God listens to me or he only listens to you? Which one is it? I said, because see, in my understanding, God has no acknowledgement of gender or sex or race or nationality, all of the other stuff. I say, so you are a spirit talking to the Lord, as am I. So if by chance I'm talking to him too, is he going to overlook and dismiss and discount my desires because you're the man?
Right.
Which I need, I say, make it make sense for me because I'm not understanding. And my father, who was a minister, was of the same mindset. So, that was his mantra. Obedience is better than sacrifice. You do what I tell you, not what you believe is right.
So now I'm curious, just because you touched on something, was he like this before you published, or did this happen after you published?
Good question.
It actually happened after, because see, when I was working, I had our money, we matched one another. His money was no more than mine. So therefore we both paved our own way. He had his, I had mine. We both came together as a family. We did all of that stuff. But then when he asked me a pivotal question, he asked me to give him his dream. So that meant that I had to step away from what I was doing so he could have his. And
so now it's your time to get your dream, and
now he's unsure. And I said, but because we keep having this battle, and he gets mad when I bring it up. And I said, well, I told him, I said, there's no expiration on my dream. I said, I gave you, because it made me cry. I was so angry with him. I said, I gave you exactly what you asked for. And I said, now it seems to me as if you're somewhat resenting that I followed through and I gave you what you asked me for, because now that you've done what you wanted to do, you want me to change what it is I want. And I said, I'm not changing. And I said, I know that it's a struggle. It is challenging. And I said, but it was a struggle and challenging when you asked me to quit and to move all the way out here to Michigan, because we were living in California. And I said, you asked me to quit my job, cash in my 401k, give you your dream. I did because I loved him. And then I kept having my father in my ear. Well, obedience is better than sacrifice. And, you need to follow the head, the husband's the head. That stuff. I'm not telling you all anything you haven't heard. So once I gave it to him and I relinquished, when I finally stepped up for myself, because I had taken all these other crazy jobs that I really didn't want just to appease him and shut him up. And I became a substitute school teacher, and I was at my job. I was hating it. And I said, because I'm from the Catholic school era. I'm like, they need to have corporal punishment. Somebody needs to get their ass beat up in this place. I'm sorry.
We just talked about that. That's why we're laughing. We were just saying that.
Yes, we just said that. Right before you came in, Gail, we just said that.
I said, I appreciate who you are as a school teacher, because there's no way that I could do. I mean, and it's not because I need to be able to spank somebody's child. It's just that the threat of it alone in most children is enough to get them to behave themselves.
Fear is an excellent motivator. Fear is an excellent motivator. And I found myself, and I loved the kids, and they were really good to me. And of course, they put me in an all white school district. So it was only me and the maid and the janitor. That's the only color that you saw.
Oh,
and
wow.
As far as teachers, now they had an assortment of students, but for management or standing there representing the school, you saw me. And I'm saying to myself, I don't even know how I got this job, because I don't have the qualifications. And I'd be like, God, you know what? Somebody need to get their ass beat up in here.
And it ain't gonna be me, right?
and something had happened at the school one day. That's the day that I quit. They had a very messy, something had happened in the bathroom, and the teachers were saying to me, well, the the maid was sick for today, and the janitor's doing something else. And we'd like to know if you would consider cleaning up a mess that allegedly the student that, was in your class did. And I was having an out-of-body experience, ladies. And
Why are you qualified to do it?
Girl, and
I'm curious to know.
Girl, you already know, sister girl right here, you already know. And I just sat there and I said, ladies, I'm sorry. I know nothing about cleaning up. I had to make them aware. I ain't that chick. I ain't that chick. And so after I told them, and I said, I had been struggling and fighting because I was more so trying to keep my husband quiet for the money. And I was like, God, I just can't do this anymore. And I was like, to thy own self be true. I said, I know you didn't have me step out of the world of beauty, and they treated me really well. And I said, I was what you call a big fish in a little pond. I said, and I knew everybody, and everybody knew me. And I went and traveled and did all of that stuff. I know you wouldn't put me here to wipe noses. And I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I had to come to the realization, I am a my child person. I'm a my child. I will tolerate and put up with certain things from my kids, but I won't do it with yours, because I kept seeming to have these misunderstandings with all these parents. And I'm like, well, listen, if you don't discipline your child at home and then they come to school and there's nothing but chaos and pandemonium, but you want us to stop the class every 5 minutes to reel your child back in. And after I kept having several conversations with these teachers, I was like, maybe I must have missed the memo, God. I said, because I remember the nuns standing up, taking turns to beat my ass with the ruler. I remember them having me stand in the corner with my arms out, holding the books. I remember standing in the corner with my nose to the corner. I remember all of that. And I said, I'd rather get whipped from the nuns than the mother superior, because she was an angry, frustrated woman. And here I am. I'm 8-year-old cursing nuns out in Catholic school. I was cursing those.
You need to get a little tapped a little bit, especially people who are 8 years old and cussing.
8 years old, girl. After sometimes of them beating me so much, all I could do was just stand there and just be like. And so when I saw the same pattern coming back with when I was doing the teaching, I was like, Then when I finally stepped out on faith, because God told me to do it. God just told me, he said, you know what? There is another path, but why don't you consider becoming an author? Consider it. And I was like, God, I was telling the Lord everything that I was not before I relinquished. I was like, God, I didn't go to school for education like that. I know that stuff. I didn't go to school for the literary arts and all this other stuff. I said, I'm just a beauty person. I'm a makeup, hair, clothing. I'm that chick. And I said, here you are telling me I have all these stories in me, and I don't believe it. And then God said, why not? I said, because I'm not qualified. And God said, I'll make you qualified. And that was my last argument with the Lord. Like, okay.
And what year was that, Gail?
This was 2004, 2005. I said, okay, God. It was the very end. It was like Thanksgiving break, when they give you off for Thanksgiving. I remember the day like it was yesterday. And I was like, okay, God, you're telling me. Now I said, let's just go back, because I was basically reiterating the high points for myself. But I wanted to make sure that I was understanding what the Lord was saying to me. And I said, okay. After I kept struggling, okay. And then when I told my husband, he just looked at me like I had lost my mind, because he thought that his dream was sufficient for me. It was not.
Ooh, we're gonna pause right there.
Okay.
Yeah, because we gonna wrap back around for the bedtime story, because this is so relevant to what's just been happening in the world. Like, there's so many shifts with the pandemic, and like that's why I asked you what year, 2005, 2006, because I think we all have a story about that pivotal moment, that day, that year, that circumstance when we said, oh,
You know
no.
what?
You know what? Yeah, Gina Brown is in town, and it's your turn, Gina. Introduce. We were just introducing. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? And what is your book about? And we're gonna take a picture with our book in a second. And Denise already took a picture with me with her book, but we got remind me to do that before we get off of here. Does everybody have their book up? And I got to get my book from underneath here. So, Gina Brown, it's your turn.
Hello, lovely ladies.
Hello.
Yes, Gina Brown, live in Los Angeles, California, and I am a artist, a painter, visual artist, and wellness coach and actor. And as you know, we're just on a little bit of a bump on the acting side, so we're doing the pivot.
Yeah.
And so life is exciting. I have time to write and I have time to paint and promote my painting. I did a Facebook Live yesterday.
How did it go?
Out of the box for me, out of my box. I paint by myself, not in front of an audience. That felt different. See me exhaling. But thank goodness for stretching yourself. So I'm all about, you can't do what you tell your clients to do if you're not willing to do it yourself. So I'm all about that. And then, and what were the other questions? Did I get them
It's
all?
about your book. How can we get your book? You have multiple books, so you got to talk about all of them.
They were nearby. Why did I not think that I was going to be talking about my book?
That's okay. No, just tell us. You don't have to show us
So
right
I
now.
have a book called Look and Feel Fabulous Now, and it is a wellness book. Tips and tricks on how to just look and feel fabulous. And many of the ideas and concepts in there we've heard all the time, but we need reminders. That's the thing. That's why you get a coach. You need reminders, someone to, emphasize, encourage you, your water, your exercise, your nutrition. And as you get older, mm, you have other needs that your body needs, and so you have to attend to those. So the book is needs an update, like a 2.0 version, but that's what that is. And then I have permission, decide and move on. And that's what Gail did. She gave herself permission to pivot out of that school setting. She decided she's going to be an author, and she went ahead and did that. And I've done that as well. I became an author in 2010, was my first book. And so there was a class. I have to tell you the story. The inspiration came when I was in college. I'm a communication major. I was in college and I took a class called Gender and Rhetoric. And it was about amazing women in the early 1900s, late 1800s, who were writers, publishers, trailblazers, like Ida B. Wells, and many others. And I was like, one day I'll be an author. And you're 20, 21, you don't get there.
Get there,
And have a
right?
destination. I wish I would have did it then, but I didn't. And then eventually it happened, right? So it's happened multiple times, and we all have a voice, whether it's creative, novel voice, self-help voice, entertainment, comedic voice, training, education, informational how-to voice. There's so many different ones. So I just enjoy writing and telling stories.
Very good. Sounds great.
I love that quote. I give myself permission. Say that again, Gina.
I have permission, decide, and move on.
I have permission, decide, and move on. I love that. That is incredible. Wow. I think it's so beautiful just having women in the room. Like I attract mostly women. There's a few men sprinkled throughout my groups, but so many women, and finding your voice is so important because we don't know who we are until we really start to get still and get quiet and hear God's voice, right? Like we don't know who we are. And so for me, writing has always been that tool since I was 12 of figuring out who I was because, you know, my mom, I was raised by a single mom. She's a very strong woman, still very strong with a very strong voice. And so next to her, growing up under her, I really didn't express myself until I went to college. And then I came out. I went to Grambling State University in 1994, graduated in 98. That's where I met my sweetheart, my college sweetheart. We're no longer together. He's my ex. But the thing about it was when we met, we were power partners and we had made a lot of promises to each other. And we were supposed to be that Barack and Michelle Obama. That was our plan. We were going to law school. We were going to do it, right? Then we graduated, moved in, got pregnant, and then everything shook, right? I still did a semester in law school. He still went to public administration, you know, all of that. We did our graduate school, but we talk about dreams, right? We had dreams, but we really didn't know because we really weren't listening to what God was telling us. We were just kind of going with the flow, what we thought was cool. And then, you know, the years went on, the kids got older. Now there's three. Two are already in college. One of them's in high school. And as the years went on, there was this constant discussion about, well, you know, I want to do this, so I'm gonna do that. And I was always the biggest cheerleader and the biggest rah, rah, rah. You got a side business, I'm gonna help you run it. You have a dream, I'm gonna invest in your dream. I'm gonna give you all my time and energy and money, and we're gonna do this. But then when I decided to become an author, oh, that's when I really learned about the nature of the relationship. And that's when we split. So wow. I have all the respect. I mean, he's a wonderful father. We have amazing children, but we reached the end of the road, boys to men. It's the end of the world. We expired. And so I have no shame about saying that was my practice marriage. And I'm currently working with God to manifest the new real marriage because there is a power partner out there in the world for me.
Boaz for you.
Yes, there is a power partner. So anybody that's listening,
I claim that too for me.
Right. It's like anybody who's trying to manifest, just get still and just listen to what God is telling you. What season are you in your life? This season for me is a second memoir because my first book was a memoir way back in 2017. And it's funny because we talk about power partners and romantic mates. My ex became a fitness trainer after I lost 40 pounds and transformed my body. He became a fitness trainer. And I became an author after he wrote a book. He wrote a book first, and then I became an author. And it's so funny. I think back and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all these synchronicities. So there was a purpose for that relationship. There was a purpose for that whole period of life. And now I'm in the life where I'm like, okay, now I got to write the next memoir because I got to catch y'all up to speed on what's going on over her. It's amazing. Like even all the bumps and bruises and all the pain and heartache and labor and all that, contractions, you know, life is the most beautiful that it's ever been for me, ever. And I'm 47 and I'm so grateful.
I'm curious. There are times when divorces happen and then years go on and people reconnect because they're different. Do you see that happening?
That's a good question. Great question. That would happen if I were to go back to teaching. And neither one of them things is going to happen because I'm a totally different woman. I have different standards. I tolerate different things. I never had boundaries before. I have boundaries and I have really high expectations and big dreams. And I don't plan on being ever mediocre, average, or complacent. And that's what I was before. I was very average, mediocre, and complacent. Even though I was successful, like by the American dream standards, but still, for what my purpose is, it's not in the classroom. It's not inside of that little box. Because that's literally how we were living, is in that little box, which is fine for some people are okay with just being average. Average income, average health, average mindset, average everything. I'm not that person anymore. But that's a great question. A ton of people have asked me, hey, you ever thought about going back into the classroom because you're such a great teacher? I have my own classroom. I'm teaching a class in 20 minutes of adults who want to learn self-publishing. And guess what? They're all plugged in.
That's right.
And on task. That's all.
And they're adults.
They're adults. And they
because and hopefully not the adults that are playing games, you know what I mean? So I had to say this because when other people read or see this YouTube, my husband will look at me like, really? And so I'm gonna say this, this was not male bashing, this was a reality for all of you, us. And I'm gonna say I'm thankful that I have not had that experience. I believe that my dating life led me to the right person. And when I look back at some of the, I just say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Because my husband was actually one of my biggest cheerleaders.
Yes.
And helped sell books. I was like, wow. So I mean, his coworkers, I know where he works. I know some of his coworkers, they know me, or they especially know him. And he's actually saying, you know, my wife wrote a book. And I think he took a couple of work and somebody started reading it. And I'm capturing people that I was not thinking about, you know. So this one, like, man, your wife, that lady in the character in this book is a pain, and I gotta read and see what she does next or whatever. So it's like, wow. So he's like, I need a couple of more of those books because they're selling. And I said, wow, I appreciate, and I didn't ask him to do it. You know what I mean? Wow. I was just like, you know, it's on a global platform to be purchased. I had copies I need to keep on hand for a book fair. And so in saying all of that, for the men that are going to be listening to this later, we are not male bashing,
right?
We are thinking about our experiences, and you know, I can only imagine. I cannot not imagine being with someone like you all, and having to deal with that. If the outcome would not fare very well at all. I think that it should be, let's boost each other up. Can't we both eat? You know what I mean? Can we both you know, build the wealth or whatever? So, you know, it's just too bad that some men don't see that. It's like, I should be the one, you know, here. I should be the one doing whatever. But and women, we do that too. So let's go ahead and do the other thing. There's some guy out there, because I have family members, cousins, God bless them, great guys. And so every time I hear the women like yourself saying, I'm like, maybe I should introduce them to, you know.
Maybe you should hook us up.
Like, I mean, I'm already, it's in my mind. I'm like, maybe I should, how do I do that? Do I just have a meeting and say, hey, I'll be right back, you guys talk, and just leave the scene and see what happens? I'm like, these are beautiful women here. And you know that it's only skin deep, but you know, I'm listening and I'm like, this is a good match here. How did they not, you know? So anyway.
Well, I'll definitely send you from my dating profile. I have all my criteria. So if he clicks off at least 9 out of 10,
I think that
he'll be ready for the interview, because I'm taking interviews.
I'm taking so applications. These are and these are family members that are in business. They supportive, especially one. I mean, it's because of him that I was able to get self-published with the platform that I chose, because I didn't even know about that platform. I was running with I don't know if we could say different platforms that are out there. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but with the one that everyone knows, this one shipping company that everybody knows. And he said, no, they're the devil. I was like, what? He said, check these people out. And I said, okay. And I got on there and they were running some specials. So I was able to upload my stuff for free.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, I love free 99.
And I'm glad you shared that, because I have 2 daughters that are in their 20s. They're dating age now. They're in college. They're not actively looking, for love, but I talk to them all the time about this is what it looks like to be a power partner. This is what it looks like for somebody to support you, lift you up. And, you feel when you're seen, heard, and supported. And
Right.
it could be like that in the beginning of the relationship. But as you move and grow and you enter different seasons, people change, and that's fine. And so my mom, she's on her 1, 2, 3, third. This one is amazing. I told her yesterday, I said, don't do anything because we like him.
Yeah.
I said, we want to keep him. So let's work it out. And she's like,
Right.
I know.
I
He's
know it.
the best.
Right.
So I never block any blessings from coming my way. I'm open. Experience is what it is. But
Right.
life happens, and one of the things that women do, and I think this is the overarching theme of our discussion, one thing that women do is we put ourselves on the back burner to support
we
other
do.
people. And that has to stop, because even our children leave the nest.
That's true.
And so if we put them before our dream, Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream. Can I have a dream? When do I get to have a dream?
Right.
That's the thing that I share with women, even in my online courses and my coaching. Find your voice. The writing is where you find your voice. The writing is between you and God. And that's it. It comes to you and through you for your audience. It's the ultimate way to express yourself is through your writing. And I think that's why a lot of people run from it, because once you start writing, then your true purpose is revealed, and then you got to do something about
That's exactly right.
You're
I
vulnerable.
think people should never sit back and wait. I know we talked about that earlier about what do you do when you've got it all together. Now what? And and I talked about the pause that I had to, that it was like the book sat for 5 years, and it wasn't until my younger cousin published it. I said, okay. He says, what are you doing? Oh, come on. And then it became
Yes.
excuses. So it's like, just the one thing, just take your time, write every day. And if you have a full-time job like I do, and my job is really busy, it's really busy.
Yeah.
But what I do is I say, okay, I'm not working 24 hours a day, right? I mean, you can turn the TV off. I like the music in the background, and then if a story comes to me, I'm like, ooh, especially if I'm driving, I'll say, hey, Siri. Well, let me not say her. She might wake up. But I just say, hey, to see she did. Oh my God. So I say
What's
to
that?
her,
Party?
and I say, make a note, and I start telling her what I want. Now she gets it wrong all the time. I know what I meant. So when I go back to look at it later, when I'm not driving, see that Montgomery County, then I go and I pull that information and I make a note. Okay, now I need to type this into this manuscript that I'm pulling together with ideas. And then eventually one day it's a free weekend, a 3-day weekend or something. And let me pull that into a whole story. And then it turns out to be 2 chapters. Then it's 3 chapters, and then it's 4. And then, oh, look, there's a book. It's done. Now what? I need an editor. And now I have a relationship with an editor now. And we work very well together. I am not hard to work with. I think that if you tell me you're going to do something and you give me a date, I'm going to be right there.
Yep.
With my book in the car, like she said, 5:00, and it's only 4:30, so I'll just sit here and wait. Or he said whatever, and I want to be on time. And if I'm going to be late, I'm going to be able to say to you. So I don't want an editor that says, "Yeah, I know I told you I'll get it to you on Friday, but y'all are busy." Because I want to get my piece of work done. Because once it's edited, then I know that now I have a book in my hand, and I could announce it. And my classmate, and I mean, my family's large. I come from a large family. I'm married into a large family. I know my family's going to come through deep. I know that these classmates of mine from Georgetown High class of 1989, what's up, y'all?
Hey.
They come through for me. The Army folks that I know, I don't even know how many people of us are still in touch on Facebook. They're coming through because they want to know, what did she write? I know her, and she wrote a book. Let me see what she wrote. My coworkers, my employees, not that I pressure them to buy it, but I just put it out there, and in my church family as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm doing all of that, I just need these things to come together. But what has to happen first? One, I have to do my part, right? I have to get over that hump. I have to throw away that doubt, throw away that hesitation, and just Nike, do it. Just do it. If you've got a book, a manuscript, there's so many ways to get information. I mean, even on this platform, you're hearing how LT is giving people advice and saying, hey, go ahead. I know when I come across people, I'm like, hey, give me a call. I'll tell you what I did, how I got to my self-publishing journey, how it started. And I am a business. My author and Denise is a business. That's my LLC. I take it very seriously. So please don't come hollering. No, we're not playing games with the LLC, baby. This is a business. I'm serious about my art. Erykah Badu said it best though, but I'm serious about it. You just go about handling your business. And there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, right? You know, you can go to a big publisher and take your manuscript there, and hopefully they'll take you on and charge you and only give you some royalties. Or you can take matters into your own hands. And that's the part I love about this country, and the fact that we can self-publish and own our own business, and we control where that book's going to go, where it's not going to go, or what's in the book, or what the, you know, I don't have to worry about a team of people saying, we think that your audience would prefer to have this on the cover versus, I appreciate the big publishers, don't get me wrong, but I want to be able to maintain my creative control. And so I think that when people start to understand that, and LT is going to make sure the world knows.
Oh, yes.
Start to realize that, they'll get past that. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. Stop asking people for permission to be great. I don't ask anybody when to wake up. I don't ask anybody when can I get out of the bed. I don't ask when can I get in the restroom. I don't, unless we're in some house, there's only one bathroom. That's one thing. But why would you ask people permission to be great? You know, a young lady who I befriended on Facebook, as a matter of fact, we had a conversation, and she asked, did I talk to anyone at my church about publishing this book, because it's called It Happened at Church. It's a work of fiction, but I said, no, absolutely not. No.
Why would you?
Why would you?
And so, and in that moment though, she felt like she needed to have some type of validation from that audience. And I understand when you have a church family, and I don't know what her family makeup is, but if your church family is that family, that's who you interact with, and you just want somebody to give you some encouragement, say, go write that book. And they came back and laughed at her and basically discouraged her from writing that book. And I told the girl, bye, don't ask them anything unless you are saying, and I'm using you as an example, LT.
Yeah.
If LT was the minister that encouraged my husband to beat me like Celie,
right,
in purple, and I'm going to write about it in my book, and that's my truth, right? And I know she said that. I'm still not going to ask her if I could publish that. You know why? Because it's my truth. Now, if I was making up the story and I wanted to use, then I need to say, hey, listen, I need you to be the villain in my book. Do you mind if I use your name? That's different. But I would never ask anybody to get permission for me to be great, for me to rise up out of, I wrote a book, but it's just on the shelf in a manuscript on my iPad. I'm not going to ask permission to move that book to publish and having it in somebody's hand in a digital form or anywhere. I'm not going to do that. I'm unapologetically moving up. I'm not asking questions. I'm just doing it. As long as it's not illegal or immoral, I'm moving. I'm doing my thing.
There you go. I love that. I love that. That's a perfect segue into our picture, because we got about 8 minutes.
Oh,
so
yes.
we're going to take our picture with our book.
Yes, off.
About as you guys bring your book up, tell us, it's so important because, oh, you okay, Gail?
Yeah, let me just
Okay.
It is so important for people in our audience or wherever they are in the world to know who your book is for. This is one of the things that I teach inside of this course, and this is my curriculum. So anybody who comes to me, talk about who's your target audience. We talk about that. Because if people know who it's for, they can either buy it, review it, or refer it, right? But if they don't know who the book is for, some people get offended because people are not buying their book. And it's like, first of all, your family and your friends normally don't buy your book because they're normally not your target audience. But if they are, they will. That's why you have to articulate this very clearly on the back cover and in all of your communication, all of your marketing. You have to be very clear about who it's for, who it's not for, and why they need to get it. And that's going to make people buy. So here's my commercial for myself. Anybody who's new, who does not have a book yet, but the idea is swimming around in your head and you're pregnant, like I was pregnant for 12 years. If you're pregnant with a book and you don't know where to start and you're like, I'm confused, I'm overwhelmed, this curriculum right here is going to get you all the way straight, because it tells you everything from copyright to trademark to identify your target audience. I even break it down to 3 target audiences, and I teach how to develop your manuscript around those audiences. So people who are brand new, this is the new person's for dummies, but I didn't want to use that language, but it's for dummies, people who are just starting. It's my 4 years of research. It's the curriculum for my online course. And this book is $100. And people look at me like $100, and I sell them.
That's right.
So there
That's
you
right.
go.
Very good. Your first book workbook. That's right.
So that's who it's for. And I'll pass the mic right on over to Denise.
Thank you very much. My name is Denise, and my work of fiction is It Happened at Church. This book is targeted toward anyone from middle school on up to 104, 5, 20, whatever. If you are a deacon in the church and things aggravate you, you can read this book and you'll feel so much better knowing that some of these people that aggravate you are going to get what they had coming. I'm only kidding. It's a work of fiction, though. Remember, it's a work of fiction. There are characters in this book that, you know what I said when I was writing this book? I said, these are characters, but they're almost like spirits in a way. This is not a demon book or anything, but we know that when you go into church, that it's no different from the church to the mosque to the Catholic diocese. It doesn't matter. The characters in this book, you are going to find them wherever you worship, even if you don't worship anywhere. They're here. And so that's what I wanted to write. This is the first in a series that I am currently writing, and I'm excited about it. So It Happened at Church.
That's awesome. All right, Gail. Oh, what'd you say? Sorry.
No, I was saying I was passing the mic back to you so you can pass it on to.
Passing it on to Gail Rucker. Which one you want to show us? You have so many.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to talk about the second or third series. It's one of them. My latest book, I have another one coming out this month, but my latest book is titled Dessert Novella Sweets. I write racy, adventurous, and naughty stories, and they're titled after world famous desserts. And it is for the adult reader. There is an erotic thread that runs through it, and if by chance violence, vulgarity, and sex offends you, this is not the book for you. But it's very funny, lots of adventure, lots of misunderstanding, and lots of sex. But it's all willing. All of the people in the stories are willing participants. And I have a volume 2 coming out. This is 11. It's 11 stories in here. I wrote 75. So this is the first one. And they're all world famous desserts. Dessert novella sweets. So thank you.
And we got 3 minutes. So Gail, we'll have to do bedtime story next week.
Girl, no problem.
Because we got class tonight in 3 minutes. Gina Brown.
I'll be quick.
What you got? Who you have to tell us who it's for.
Yes. So my book is called I Have Permission, Decide and Move On. And it is for the working, busy entrepreneur female for inspiration, motivation, and encouragement to pull you into the direction of getting to your next project. And it goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about with Denise said and Gail said and ULT about giving yourself that permission. So it's just a bite-sized nugget book to encourage you to do that. Women in business in age 25 to like 65.
I love it.
Or older. Or older.
Dolores up in the house. Tell us how many books you've written. Where you from, Dolores? What do you do in the world? What's going on?
Okay. I am from New Jersey, And I'm on my third book that I'm excited about. And I just looked at your email, LT, and I said to myself, you know what? I need to stop procrastinating and get this done. I've been holding on to it for too long. So I need to get it finished so I can get it out there and get women motivated, because we need to take care of ourselves no matter what age we are. And there's something for everyone. So I am a runner, just in case you ladies don't know. But I know everybody's not a runner. You don't have to be a runner to get in shape and to take care of yourself and to be healthy. It's all about making you feel good, look good, feel good, mentally strong.
Mhm.
So, and I teach in Allentown. What else were you asking, Latasha?
Who is your book for?
My book, this third book that I'm working on, it's actually for seniors. And the reason it's catered more towards seniors is because my second book was called D-Lo Flow, and I talked about the different stages that when you're 20s, 30s, so on and so forth. And so a lot of my friends that are my age, I'm a senior citizen, they're not runners. So when they read the book, they enjoyed it. And they was like, you didn't mention anything about seniors in this book. So that's what inspired me to, I have to do something for seniors. Because as we mature, our bodies change, and it does require different things to stay fit, stay active, look good, look healthy. We require different things to do that we have to do to maintain that. So I did include a lot of that in my senior book. So that was what inspired me to do a book for seniors. And
Yeah.
not only that, we face different health challenges. I can't speak for you ladies, but going through menopause, I've always gotten my physicals on time every year because I run. And my doctor brought it to my attention that my blood pressure was starting to elevate. And I started experiencing like this rapid heartbeat thing. So, and I'm just learning how to deal with it, how to treat it without a lot of medication. I'm not into the medication that they pump you with. It's a medicine for this, for that. There's a lot of natural remedies and natural things that you could do for yourself. And one thing I want to share with you ladies is what my grandmother shared with me. And I'm so grateful that it stuck with me because I was a wild child. I'm not going to lie. But she said to me, she sat me down and she talked to me and she said, how you take care of your body, baby, when you're young is how you going to age. So I'm happy to say I'm aging gracefully.
That's
All
right.
right. Yes.
And we'll land that plane right there. Everybody show your book. We'll take a picture and then we are out of here.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, LT.
You're welcome. Hopefully I could get in the picture. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3. All right. I'll see you next Thursday, ladies.
All right,
Have a
take
great
care.
week.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
week.
Have
Have a great week,
morning.
ladies.
Take care.
5 minutes.